Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. And this is a podcast where we're watching an episode of Parks and Recreation, and then we're talking about it. And that's the whole premise. There might be some other things we talk about as well. And we're just glad that you're back with us. And us is me. I'm Jeremy. I'm Jason. And I'm joined across town by my friend, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremy?
Man, it's good. It is so good. It has been a little while since we have been able to record.
We don't even know who we are.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
So we are dusting off the old podcastery machine and relearning each other's names and getting back to it. And so, listener, we are deeply grieved for missing all these weeks of podcasting. But as I'm sure you understand, listener, things happen. And that's what happened to us. Various things. Challenges. But we're back. And we are ready to talk about Season 5, Episode 14. Leslie and Ben. Jeremy?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we need to know before we jump in to talking about this episode? Anything, maybe your feelings, your general vibe of this episode, or just personal things you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, taxes were hard this year I think it's really funny that we took a gigantic break in the middle of a to be continued episode, which I think this was one of the first ones, if I recall. So yeah, you're welcome for that long pause to see what happens. This was one of those. It's a wedding episode. And so there's the whole wedding episode trope, and I think they did a pretty good job with this. By we thought it was going to be one thing, and then it ended up being something else, and it was really nice. And there's a lot of little things. But my favorite parts were Jeremy Jam and Ron. That's it. That's what I'll say for now. Okay. Those are my favorite parts. And right. But overall, I mean, it's a great episode. I mean, Leslie and Ben finally tied the knot, and I think it solidifies that.
Spoilers.
Oh, I know. Sorry. We'll get there. This is my general feeling. Yeah. How about you?
I enjoyed this episode. As I rewatched it a second time in preparation for this episode, it was so good I had to watch it twice, and it was weeks before I had watched it again. But it's not as funny as I remember it being. But it is, there's still funny things, but it is just very sweet.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. And it's not overly sweet. As we're recording it today, it is National Donut Day. And, a good donut is that mix of fried bread, batter or whatever, and some kind of glaze or frosting. But if you have too much of the sweetness, the donut is ruined, is in my opinion.
I agree.
And this episode is a well-crafted artisanal donut.
What flavor would this episode be?
Well, I think because we have some saltiness with Ron and Jeremy Jam, I would say it is a maple glazed donut with bacon on it.
Crumbles or strips?
Crumbles.
Okay.
Strips seems unnecessary.
Yeah, and harder to eat. What's your go-to donut? Like, you get one.
Man, one donut?
One.
I don't
That's
think
it.
Listen, I'm going to make a confession with you all. I don't think I've ever gone to a donut store and only ordered myself one donut. Like, I don't think I have that kind of self-control.
I know there's that whole display case. It's like, why do I just have to choose one?
Exactly.
You're an adult with your own money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I already rang the bell when I came in. They know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody knows.
But if I could only get one donut, this is tough. I mean, my default would be an apple fritter from Countryside Donuts in Mount Lake Terrace.
Yes.
They're so good because it's a big circle of fritter, right? But it's not too thick. Like sometimes
right.
like Top Pot donuts, their fritters are too fluffy. It's like,
Agreed.
I'm not here for a fluffy donut. I'm here for apple, bread, grease, glaze. That's what I want. Cram that down so I can hold it and take nice sized bites. So good.
Yeah, the edges are nice. The edges are just slightly crispy, and you get to the middle where it's a little bit soft and chewier, but not like undercooked or under,
it's not raw,
boiled or whatever they do to it, fried.
Yeah. So
microwave.
The Top Pot donut, people go crazy for Top Pot donuts. I'm like, have you guys had their fritters? They're gross. But anyway, I have some opinions. I've done the research. What about you, Jeremy? What's your go-to?
It's okay. 100% an apple fritter, because ever since a kid, it was like, I get to choose from all of these. I will take the largest one there. That thing's the size of my head. I want that. And it's got fruit in it, so it can't be bad.
Yeah, it's basically health food.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah. I will, if I have to choose between an apple fritter and a blueberry fritter, I will go for the blueberry fritter.
Yeah.
And then there's a place down in Olympia, for those of you in the Washington state area, and they have like 4 or 5 different kinds. There's a pineapple fritter, like a banana fritter, apple, blueberry, like there was like a strawberry or raspberry. Yeah. And so if you do fritters, that's the best. But I'm down for all of them. I mean, if maple bars, great. Donuts are probably one of my favorite things ever. So there you go.
I think the best donut place that is usually, now I'm just listener, I need you to hear my heart here. I'm going to speak in generalities. But there are too many donut places that I think are trying to be too cute.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And what I'm looking for in a donut place is generally, in my experience, a sweet Vietnamese family who is running the donut place. And, you don't even know if it's open sometimes because not all the lights are on. And, and I look, every time I go into a donut place, I look for a little shrine to Buddha because, I am a Christian, right? But I don't think Jesus knew his way around donuts the way Buddha would. And so,
I mean, look at him, right?
Yeah. Buddha, Jesus goes out to the wilderness, fasts for 40 days and all that stuff. Right. Like, that's great. I love Jesus. Okay. Sure. I love Jesus.
He's keto. He's totally ketoed out.
Yeah. Buddha is like, no, man, enjoy this and eat that donut. And that is the path of enlightenment. And so, so that's why I can only get multiple donuts. I can never get just one. It's like, he's judging me over there in the corner saying like, are you really enlightened with just an old fashioned glazed? I know it's delicious, but man, throw on that maple bar. Like, you're right. I should throw on that maple bar. Thank you.
Last question before we move on. Milk or coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah, because you're an adult.
Well, and also I'm lactose intolerant. So just drinking straight milk is a bad formula for my family later. So okay. I love them too much. I haven't had milk from a cow in...
You haven't had beef milk?
That's so gross. I haven't had beef milk in like directly. Like I have it in cheese and ice cream and stuff because it's all processed and different. Mm-hmm. But I haven't had beef milk in probably 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And your bones are fine. Look at that.
Well, I can't see them, so I guess. That's kind of...
You're still standing.
It's kind of my modus operandi, anything medical. If I can't see it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, like, my bones look good. I can't see my blood. All good.
Spleen? What's that for? Can't see it. For fun.
File that away somewhere in my body. I'll get to it later.
So, right next to the donuts.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway.
All right.
So you're welcome, listener, for that. And we'd love to hear about your donut preferences as well. Send us an email, parksandconversation@gmail.com. And you might be like, I know that they're not going to get this in time and they're not going to care what I say about donuts. And I want you to know this, listener. You're wrong. I do care what you have to say about donuts. If you have a donut place in your community that is awesome, let us know. I don't know if I'll ever be in your town, but if I am, like, and I'm like, what should I eat today? And I remember, our listener in Sarasota, Florida said that there's a great donut place here. Like, I'll look through my archive in my email and I'll be like, I'm going to go hit up that donut place.
Well, and other people listening,
yeah.
I mean, somebody else might go like, hey, that sounds good. I live in Boise, Idaho too. I'll go there and get these white supremacist donuts. It's great.
We want to be a resource for all kinds of conversation.
Not just parks.
We're talking about parks and recreation, but the other part of that is conversation, friends. So yeah, let's start a donut conversation. So
I'm for it.
I wish we would have been able to record this and release it on National Donut Day now. But, there's some things about conversation that you just can't plan. And this is one of those. So anyway, this episode is rated 9.2 on IMDb. It seems like it's the highest in a long time. People generally loved this episode. And so I'm pretty stoked to talk about it. Last time we ended with Leslie and Ben at the gala to raise money for Pawnee Commons, and it's a black tie affair. It's a whole thing. It's so fancy. And Ben is like, hey, Leslie, let's get married right now. And so they decide to do that. And so it picks up right where the previous episode left off. And as I'm looking at my notes that I wrote on a month ago, I have written down here July 57th for some reason. And I don't know why. Anyway, but they have 2 hours to plan a wedding because the whole town's there and it's already a party. And so Leslie loves the town, inviting the town to the wedding, all this stuff. They have 2 hours. And so they get excited about it. They turn around so they don't face each other because they, want to hold some kind of tradition for the last couple hours of their wedding day. As they're building their plan, Ben says it's very important to him that Leslie take his last name because he wants Leslie Knope to disappear. And I love that because Ben is joking. Ben doesn't really care. Now, when I got married to my wife, she took my name, but I know that's not something that everybody's going to do, right? And so and it's definitely not something that Leslie Knope would ever do.
And Ben knows that. That's why it's funny to him.
Right. And so, listen, if you and your partner can't joke around, relax, folks. Joke around.
It's just a name.
Yeah. So, some of the protests that Leslie puts up is like, our parents aren't here. And Ben's like, that's better, actually. So, we are doing better without them. And all the plans that they put onto their wedding, who cares? Punt those to, here, this is why I wrote July 57th. As I'm going through, Ben says we can get married on May 16th, June 1st, or July 57th, which I think is May 16th. If you go, never mind. That one, math is hard. I'm not going to try this.
It'd be sometime in August.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, Jason. Just keep moving. So then it hits the credits. They're going to make their plan, and they come into Anne's house because it's right next to Pawnee Commons, and their backs are to each other. And Ben says the Falcon is entering, and Leslie says the turtle dove is what did she say?
Turtle dove
acknowledges. Yeah. The Falcon is entering. The turtle dove acknowledges. And so I love that they both chose bird names for their code names. So they are now going to get everybody together in the house to build a plan. And Anne is super calm with all of this because she's like, Leslie's had me do all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been preparing for this for the last several years, which is funny to me. And everybody has something to do in this. And so Jerry and Donna are going to keep the party moving forward, and Tom is going to be the officiant, and Chris and Ben are going to go look for rings at this late hour. Ron is going to walk Leslie down the aisle. It's all coming together. Andy and April are going to go get the wedding license. And so things are coming together quickly. It's going to be an awesome day. Everybody's excited. They scatter. And I love Chris and Ben as they go to the pawn shop. And Jeremy, what happens at the pawn shop?
They fail miserably.
Why?
Why? Because is the pawn shop owner listed here? Herman? No. Oh yeah, Herman.
Yeah, Herman.
Yeah. They're trying to find wedding rings, obviously, and they say, where are their wedding rings? And he says, right here in the jewelry and nails tray, because there's some really nice jewelry in there, but also nails. because this is the kind of place that Herman runs. So yeah. and they try to they find some really nice ones, nice rings, and Chris is like, hey, these aren't bad, and they were Herman tells them they were nipple rings, and they find out that they were actually Herman's. That's how he knows that. So
yeah,
they decide not to get those and they leave.
Right. Now, this is when we learn that Herman runs the pawn shop.
Yes, this is the first time.
We've seen Herman at town forums and stuff, and this is where we actually learn his job.
Yeah. Didn't he win Anne for a date?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and that date didn't happen because Anne bid $1 million on herself. So, yeah, but this is something I wanted to talk to you about because again, this is Parks and Conversation.
Let's talk.
All right. Have you ever been in a pawn shop?
Absolutely.
All right. How would you describe the general vibe inside pawn shops?
It's like an organized junk store.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find stuff, but a lot of the times I've been in there, they've been really, it feels like everything's kind of almost broken a little bit. Like everything's 75% like usable.
Right.
But the reason why I went back in the day was because you could get CDs super cheap.
Right.
And that's why movies and CDs were just almost free. They're a couple bucks a piece. Mm-hmm. I bought my lawnmower from a pawn shop a few years ago. It works great. It was missing a handle and I fixed it. And like pawn shops are great if you don't, but it also feels like I just wonder, and I know this is probably a terrible thing to say. I'm just saying, I feel like most of the stuff may have been stolen. Now, maybe that's just a vibe, because of years of movies and TV and stuff, but it just kind of feels seedy-ish a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that, am I contributing to the underworld of, 99 on Edmonds? I don't know. So
yes. Yeah, because there are plenty of pawn shops on Highway 99 between your house and my house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I go into pawn shops, same reason. Cheap CDs, cheap movies. Yeah. You can also find some interesting musical instruments sometimes.
Yes.
In pawn shops. And it basically feels to me like a garage sale plus despair.
Yeah.
like this is like, I mean, it's sad, but people are like, the reason the nails and jewelry tray exists is because people are like, I need to unload this jewelry. I need some cash. And so like, if you're doing a garage sale, it's like, we need to clean up some stuff from our house and let's put it in our yard and see if our neighbors want to take our garbage for us. Whereas the pawn shop is like, I'm desperate. I need help. And so I always feel like when I go in there and I buy like a Pearl Jam CD, which I don't do, go in and buy a Pearl Jam by Vitalogy for like 88 cents or something. I'm like, yes. But that Vitalogy was somebody's beloved Pearl Jam album. And here I am taking it for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, I guess that's the other side too, is like how much of that stuff was meant to be like the way, for those who don't know, we're becoming the older generation. Pawn shops operate on the idea that they'll buy things from you, but also they will lend you 30% the value of what they think that they can sell it for. And if you can come back with that money, you can have your item back. Right. And a lot of those items never get picked back up. And so It's just, like you said, it's just kind of sad.
Yeah. I had a friend who plays guitar and he came with a different guitar to our meeting, our whatever. And I was like, where's your guitar? He's like, it's in Hawk.
In Hawk,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I put it at the pawn shop because I needed some cash. And I was like, dude, you could have asked me for a little bit of cash. Like
I would have taken your guitar.
I'd at least hold on to it and not accidentally sell it to somebody.
Right.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so I'm glad we know what Herman does for work now. We will see him again in the future in the pawn shop. But yeah, so they take off, and Andy and April are going in to get the marriage license, and they're breaking into the city hall because they have keys. And Andy still does not know that he did not pass the personality exam for the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's talking about how he's got to commit as many crimes as possible because tomorrow he's going to be a cop. So April finds the marriage license and says, I'm going to take them all so no one else can get married because it ruins it for us. We want to keep it special for us. And he's like, yep, good call. Let's roll. He jumps out the window for no reason. And then Leslie is with Anne, and Anne's job is wedding dress and makeup and all that stuff. And they see the wedding dress and it's not finished. And Leslie's very upset because, in her words, why would you take a job if you're not going to finish it 3 months early? And so Anne is like, I think I got this because I've been watching a lot of I've been watching a lot of Project Runway lately and over the last 8 years. So she's going to figure out how to finish the dress and it's going to be great. April shows up and she's like, we got the license, but Leslie's like, oh, you didn't sign it. And so they're like, oh, we got to go get it signed. And so they're running into all kinds of roadblocks, and Ben and Leslie are, should we do this? Should we not do this? But they're going to press forward. And so so they're going to keep working on all of this. And then we cut to the banquet, and Donna and Jerry are talking, and they have Indiana celebrity lookalikes as the draw to raise money. And so they have Orville Redenbacher, LaToya Jackson, Axl Rose, David Letterman, and then Donna tells Jerry that there's also going to be a little Sebastian lookalike.
What?
And Jerry gets so excited, he pees himself. But it's just a dab.
Just a dab.
And so he goes to get cleaned up over at Anne's house. And Tom is going to be the officiant because he thinks he can get credentialed in like an hour on the internet, but it takes 24 hours. And Tom is working this out as Jerry's coming out of the bathroom. And Tom says, but this is America. I want it now.
Now, as a credentialed, like, went to school minister, how do you feel about the whole online, I can become an officiant through the universal church of internetness? Like what do you, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't care.
Perfect.
Whatever. Like, honestly, the reason people do that most of the time is not to start their own religion. It's to be a part of their friend's wedding.
Most of the time.
There are a few who maybe are going to try to start their own religion. But those folks still need to sign the paperwork and get it to the city. You know, like it has to be an official document.
Right.
Anyway. So, and weddings are actually a very small part of what I do. So it's like, all right, I don't care. So yeah, that's probably not the right answer for my denomination. And so sorry. But I don't got enough going on. I don't have to worry about this.
All right. Just curious. Just curious.
Yeah. But I know people who have done that. And you know, and they find out that their credential expired. It's like, I can't do your wedding. So if you do that, just make sure you're on track with your how long are you a religious figure, I guess. So
that would suck if you marry someone and then you come to find out your credentials expired.
Right.
You're like, hey guys, sorry, that didn't count. We got to do over.
Sorry, y'all are living in sin. So, but it turns out that Jerry is ordained. And I don't know why. We'll find out later that for some reason he has to wear a judge's robe. But so he's ordained. And so he's like, I'll do the wedding. And Tom's like, all right, how about you don't say anything of your own dumb words. You just say what I told you. And they're like, anything to help Leslie. So it's all coming together on that side. And then we cut to Ben and Leslie outside trying to meet each other because Ben is looking for some jewelry from a box his mom gave him. And all he could find was a tennis bracelet and a necklace that says wine chick. So, but Leslie is like, we can't get a ring. We can't get licenses. We don't have a dress. There's all these things that are not working. Maybe this is not meant to be, but then it starts snowing.
It's the universal sign that whatever you're trying to accomplish, if it starts snowing in that moment, it is meant to be.
Yes. Or, depending on this time of year, it's a nuclear apocalypse. So you got to kind of just pay attention to the calendar in that situation.
Yeah, read the room.
Read the world. And so, so it starts snowing and Leslie turns and she sees an angelic vision. In the streetlight, there is Lil Sebastian. And Ben looks inside. What? I can't believe it. It's Lil Sebastian. And they don't know about the Lil Sebastian lookalike. No. But the guy who is handling Lil Sebastian is like, no, this is Bucky. And I love that he's a licensed Lil Sebastian lookalike. Right? Where do you get a license for this?
Well, the Little Sebastian estate will come after you if you try to use his name.
Right. Well,
I love the lighting on Little Sebastian too. Yes. Like they just really overexposed it, and he's just like glowing.
Right. Yeah, it's all fantastic. Everything about it. But this was the sign that Leslie and Ben needed to say, all right, we're moving ahead with this thing because Lil Sebastian told us so.
Deems it worthy, yeah.
Yeah. If he would come to our wedding.
Saint Sebastian.
Saint Lil Sebastian.
Saint Lil Sebastian.
He may be Lil. So they go in and Leslie's going to talk to Anne. Like we're going to move forward and Anne's going to design the dress. It's all going to be good. Andy then and April go to Ethel Beaver's house because she is an official person in the clerk's office, I guess. She works on the 4th floor, which is also where people get divorce filings. So I don't know if she's just able to do both. I don't know. It'd be sad if the same person signed your marriage license that also signed your divorce filings.
I remember you guys.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, you're back. I knew this would happen.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, so she, Andy says this is official police business, which again, you can't do that, Andy. And Ethel is like, it's after 10. I've been asleep for 4 hours. And so April tells them like, we need you to sign this marriage license. And then the dude comes out and Ethel, is it robbers? Is it robbers? And Ethel's like, no, go back to bed. And they're like, who is that? Your husband? He's like, I'm not married.
We're on a date. It went well.
And so Ethel is she can get it, to quote Donna. And so they're like, this is for Leslie Knope and Ben Wyatt. They want to get married. And do you know them? And she says, they dragged me out in the freezing cold once so they could tell each other, I love you. It was annoying.
I love Ethel. She's again, one of the best, like, third tertiary characters. She's fantastic.
Yeah. And her character arc in the series is fantastic because we learn more about Ethel
yes,
throughout the series. And by the end of the series, Ethel is like mythical.
Right.
And so it's going to be great. And Leslie or April would like Ethel to adopt them as their, they would like to adopt Ethel as their grandma. And she says, fine.
And
closes the door. And they leave like, we love you, grandma.
As she turns off the light on the porch on them.
And so Ben and Chris are talking about the rings again, and I was like, we could just go to a pharmacy to get a cheap plastic ring. And Chris is looking through Anne's jewelry, and she's like, she has terrible taste in rings, and they're just out of ideas. But then Ron's like, maybe I can be.
Hold on, the best line is like, is this a ruby that's gone bad?
Yes. It's a ruby that's gone bad. I don't know how gems work. Is that how it works?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, everything's got a half-life, but yeah. So then Ron's like, maybe I can help. And like, how? And he's like, well, do you think Anne would miss this sconce, as he's looking at the light fixture? And Ben's response is, I don't know. It's a part of her house. And Ron just rips it right out of the wall. It's like, okay. So then we pan over to Jerry and Tom going through the wedding. And Jerry is reading Tom's message, or his speech. And I'm going to do my best to give Jerry's reading. All right. When I heard Ben was getting married, I was like, to Leslie or to Game of Thrones?
Horrible delivery.
To Game of Thrones. Yeah, so it's just not good. And then he also says, you ever heard Leslie talk about Ben's butt? I'm like, damn, girl, you mad about that back meat?
You're murdering my beautiful words.
Oh, and if this was an actual wedding, like, it would be so awful. Like, if somebody said this in a wedding, this is the main reason why people should not go to internet ordination, because at least you'll learn some stuff from a class when you are actually like pursuing ministerial credentials. So anyway, but then Jerry points out, like, look, all I have to do is the vows and the pronouncement, and that's not even really all he has to do. So
what does he have to do?
He can literally just sign the papers. So Tom could do all of it.
Good to know.
And yeah, so anyway,
I'm taking that lynda.com wedding class.
Oh, perfect.
I mean, that's all. Yeah.
Jerry just has to be there, really. So so then that's the plan. Tom is going to do most of the wedding, and Jerry is going to do the official stuff.
The legal stuff, yeah.
That's the plan moving forward. And then cut to the banquet, and Donna tells everybody there that they're going to close at 11, but 11:01 they're going to have a special wedding ceremony, and everyone's invited, and it's going to be a super fun time. And Leslie comes in, is like, how's everything going? And Donna says, great, except for that jerk over there with a megaphone. And who's the jerk? It's Jeremy Jam, as he is yelling out that no one wants a park here. Parks are stupid. So he's doing a great job as a chant leader. And then he also sees somebody walking by. He's like, hey, Butterteeth, what's up? I can fix those chompers for you. So Jam is inebriated. He is quite drunk. And he's just everything's going wrong here for him. And Leslie takes the thing and yells back at him that nope, rules, Jam sucks. Nope, rules, Jam sucks. And as she's taking it away from him, he says, you better give that back. That's my aunt's.
It's my aunt's megaphone.
And as she's chanting in his face, Hauser shows up, because Hauser has a wonderful ability, Councilman Hauser, to show up when Leslie is acting inappropriate. And so Hauser just comes by and says, Leslie, Jeremy. So then Ben is at the wedding, and he's trying to tie his own bow tie, and he fails. And no one is surprised by this. So have you ever worn a real bow tie?
Yes.
That you tie yourself?
I think for my wedding, yeah.
A real bow tie, not the kind that has a little clip on the back.
No, because it was a tuxedo, like real
wow.
thing. Yeah.
Wow. I've never worn a real bow tie.
Yeah. It was not easy. And I don't think I've ever worn one since, because I was like, these are dumb.
You know, Jeremy, I am your friend.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I've been to your house many times.
Yeah. I don't wear tuxedos at my house.
It's after 6. What am I, a farmer?
Farmer? Was it fancy enough?
No, what I'm saying is, like, I don't think I've ever seen any wedding photos.
Well, I mean, no, we got married. We are married.
I know. I'm not questioning whether or not you're married, but I've never seen any of your wedding photos. I don't think you've ever seen any of my wedding photos.
Oh, you haven't seen any of your wedding photos?
No, I don't think you've seen any of ours. Like, we don't, I'm just realizing, like, we spend all this money
oh yeah,
on photos, and I'm like trying to like go through my brain here and like, is anybody looking at those?
No, listener, listen. I this is okay. We're 80 some episodes into this whole thing. If I can give you one piece of advice for your life, it's that weddings are an absolute scam. I'm not saying don't get together, but I used to do video for weddings, and I would film weddings, and you can just charge so much money for everything in a wedding. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. We've talked about this before. Why can't we just have cake at any point in a wedding? All people want to do is get together and hang out and celebrate the people. Like people do. They want to like say, hey, yeah, that's awesome. Start your life. That's great. All of that other stuff doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That's just like, oh, I hate it. Save yourself money. Have an awesome party. Get some good food or whatever. Rent the, VFW hall or whatever you can get and just blow it out. But you don't need all of the extra stuff because like Jason said, no one's going to look at your pictures. They just don't. I've never seen my parents' wedding pictures. Have you seen your parents' wedding pictures?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
One at least, because it's in the hallway, right?
On the wall, right.
Yeah, right as you walk out of the bathroom.
Sure.
There it is.
There you go.
For some reason, my mom had a hood.
What?
Yes.
Was she Spider-Gwen?
Her wedding dress had a hood.
she's gangster.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it up or just kind of like a casual wedding dress hoodie? Like a white.
It was up. It was over her hair.
Had your dad seen her before they got married?
I believe so. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I need to know more about this. Do you know more about the situation? Like what happened?
I think that was just the style in Brimley, Michigan at the time.
Okay.
They got married in August, so it wasn't cold. I don't know.
It's wedding hood weather. I don't, yeah. Okay, you got to talk to your mom, and by next week, like we need some answers.
By next week, I have to talk to my mom.
Call your mother.
I will see. I mean, I'm sure my mom has a picture on Facebook. I could probably find a digital version of this and share.
No, I know, but I just need to know like why the hood.
I'll ask her.
Okay.
So, yeah. My dad also had a baby blue tuxedo.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
It was great. It was fantastic. It's a great picture. Like, they were very happy, and they still are. I mean, they're great.
They were very happy.
Yeah. So I'm just. Weddings are expensive. Like we were working on a budget, and so ours was not super expensive. But I really do think the wedding cake, it would be so much more better if we just gave people cake as they came in.
Sure.
That's okay.
People be sugared up. Cake, and I'm saying cake at any point. Like you get it when you come in. It's in between, like the changeover where the ceremony's over. You got to get some food. Like I'm hungry now. Like let's get some cake and like it's just a party, man. Just have fun with it. Doesn't need to be that big of a deal. Save yourself the money. You'll thank yourself and me later. Hopefully.
Yeah. Remember that in your thank yous. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah. Toast. Parks and conversation.
Yeah. All right. So where were we? Ben can't tie a bow tie. And Chris is like, hey, I got you a gift. Also, and it's a framed copy of the letter for when they were supposed to go to Pawnee. And it is a very emotional moment because they were only supposed to be there 8 weeks. And now Ben and Chris basically have found their people here in Pawnee. And so they cry. And we'll keep going. And then it cuts over to Anne just revealing Leslie's dress. And it is incorporated meaningful bills, pictures, documents, and memos from your career. And Leslie is overwhelmed, and she calls it the Ann Perkins of dresses. It's beautiful. Aww. It's amazing. And so she gets all set and dressed, and then Andy comes in and is like, oh, wow, you look amazing. He's like, oh, no, I'm not supposed to look at you. And April's like, no, that's just the groom. He's like, well, I saw him too. So he's very nervous about everything.
I'm just not going to look. He just covers his eyes.
Yeah. And so they got the license, the rings, the officiant, everything's coming together, and they're so excited. And so they get out there to do the wedding, and Donna is singing a song, and they start walking down the aisle, and Ron's with her, and it's so great and beautiful. But Jeremy Jam starts yelling out, "Boo, boo, boo, Leslie Knope."
This whole thing is my favorite part of the entire episode.
Okay. Talk about why you like this so much.
Oh, no, it's just because Jeremy Jam is at peak Jeremy Jam. And like, I think his entire arc, this is, and I think it's a little bit of a turning point for him, but yeah, no, you keep going, but this is so great. He is just every line is because I'm awesome. Like everything is great about this.
Right. Yeah. His, he yells out to everybody too. He gives the ghost away here. He's like, you don't understand. Ron's like, you don't understand what a bad idea this is. And Jeremy says, you don't understand. I would have got a cut out of that new Punch Burger if she hadn't screwed everything up.
Oh.
So this wedding is canceled because the bride is a beehole. And then Jeremy takes out a stink bomb from his coat and throws it on the ground, and it is terrible. It stinks so bad. And they're like, where did you even get that? He's like, Amazon, baby. You're looking at a prime customer. 2 days free shipping for this guy.
Yeah. That's what he's hanging his hat on. Like that's what makes him feel like a outstanding member of society right there.
Yeah. Well, he's going to continue to boast about how good his life is right now. And so he throws the stink bomb, throws another one, and then Ron's like, it's time to go. And Jeremy like pushes him and kind of gives him a punch. And Ron's like, all right, I'll give you that one. But if you do it again, and Jeremy's like, what? And he keeps punching him and stuff. And then finally, Ron just punches him right in the face. Right in the face. And April yells out, best wedding ever.
throw some rice.
Yeah, which reminds me of a Radiohead song.
Drunk at the wedding. Yeah.
Oh man, I actually really love that song. Yeah, that album actually is that Amnesiac.
Yes.
So yeah, I like weird Radiohead.
It's the best.
Kid A, Amnesiac, so good.
Yeah, Kid A is one of my favorite albums of all time. But continue.
All right, so they arrest Ron and Jeremy, and Leslie comes to post bail to try to help post bail, and she's talking to Ron, and Jeremy's there. Say, you broke my tooth, and Leslie's response is, well, good thing you're an orthodontist. Like, yeah, it's a good thing. You see my house, 5 bathrooms.
Who needs 5 bathrooms? I mean, Jeremy has a thing for bathrooms. He wanted Leslie's office with a bathroom.
Well, I think he has IBS, and so he's like, I gotta.
That's quick. Right. That's right. So, wherever I am, I can't be too far away from a bathroom.
Right, even at home. And Ron's like, look, I've never presented a bride on her wedding day. I'm not 100% sure what the duties are, but I don't think you're supposed to punch a man in the mouth during the service. And Ron's like, Leslie just says that's exactly what you're supposed to do, because that man was a jerk face. And Ron is like, no, go ahead, get married without me. And Leslie, like, this is when it's like, tears start welling up a little bit, because the Leslie and Ron dynamic in this show is so important and so powerful. And here's why we see Leslie, her love for Ron, where it comes from is when she says she lost her father when she was 10. She doesn't have any brothers, and Ken Burns never wrote back.
That's the kicker right there.
Yeah. So, and so she's like, I'm not getting married without you there to walk me down the aisle and a discussion. And
Ron does the classic kind of like mini smile while he kind of slowly closes his eyes. I love that. It's like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It's like
that's true.
They are knit together, and so they're awesome. And so then it cuts to Andy out in the lobby telling April that, she better get used to this. A lot of late nights here. And April pretends to be like the captain, saying, you gotta get something out of him, or we gotta let him go. And he's like, come on, Captain, I'm getting this close to a confession. And April says he's a psychopath. He chopped off both his hands so he didn't leave any fingerprints. And he responds is, well, then how did he murder the person?
That's good. That's good police work.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good question.
And then the chief comes out, and Andy is like, hey, it's me reporting for off duty. And the chief says, has Chris not told you that? And like Andy's like, told me what? So then we cuts away before we're told Andy's devastating news. So we don't have to see Chris Pratt pretend to cry. And so save that for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And so he's going to carry that. But then Anne comes in and they posted bail. And Jeremy's like, but hey, he punched me in the teeth. This is an outrage. And the officer there is like, we have a pretty clear picture of what went down. So they get Ron out and they go over and go back to City Hall because Anne's like, listen, I have some champagne back in my office. Let's go back, toast to Pawnee Commons. And she's like, that's a great idea because I actually have some work I need to get started on. So, and again, as they're leaving, Jeremy yells out, I got 5 bathrooms.
Like that's his condole. That's like his consolation right there.
Yeah. So that is, so Jeremy is going to sleep it off in prison. And then they go back to the office and Leslie and Ron are walking together. And Leslie's like, I just love the first floor of City Hall at night. When all the fluorescents are half off, it just makes the informational flyers look so beautiful. And Ron's response is, I've never been here willingly later than 5:04 p.m. But then Ron also says to her, like, you are a wonderful person. Your friendship means a lot to me. And you look very beautiful. And Leslie's just like, okay, weirdo. But then Ron puts his arm out for Leslie to put her arm to hook into his arm. Like I'm going to walk you down the aisle now. And Leslie didn't know this is what's going to happen. But they go in, they open the door, and there's the Parks office. The team, they're there to do this wedding. And Tom has a panic moment where he realizes that everything he wrote is wrong. It's 20 minutes of Hitch quotes before he even says Leslie's name. And Jerry just says, just speak from the heart.
It's a growth moment for Tom right here. I mean, just in these little moments, boom, Tom grows. He's like, I get it. This is inappropriate.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Or Will Smith.
Right. And,
will it ever be again? We don't know.
Probably by Oscar season next year.
No, he can't go.
Yeah, whatever. Famous people are so dumb. So I don't care. They're just so dumb. So they Tom starts saying, like, hey, we are gathered here to join Leslie Knope and Benjamin Wyatt in marriage. It's been a long and winding road for these two lovebirds, and they're so impatient to begin their lives together. They've moved their wedding date up 3 months. And I say, let's just keep it short and sweet. So they just go right into what they call vows, which is not actually vows. It's just them talking about each other. Vows are something different, everybody. If you have questions, email me, parksandconversation@gmail.com. But vows are, they say their things. And I love Ben's because it's basically like, I came here, the state of Indiana sent me to 46 cities in 11 years. I lived in villages with 8 peoples, rural farming communities, college towns. I was sent to every corner of Indiana. And then I came here and I realized this whole time I was just wandering around everywhere, just looking for you.
Oh,
I mean, that is like
aces. Not a vow.
Not a vow, but it's a very wonderful thing to say.
Yeah.
And then Leslie's like, my first draft of my vows came in at 70 pages.
Everyone has a panic attack.
But I don't have them.
Oh.
There's a copy in my office.
No, it's like a roller coaster for everybody. Like, wait, oh no.
And so, and so she says, basically, all the things that Ben has done for her, which again drives me nuts. This drives me nuts because it's all about her in her vows and what Ben does for her, and it's the vows are supposed to be what I do for you anyway. But then Jerry pronounces them husband and wife, and they kiss, and it's all good. Ron goes around pouring Lagavulin for everybody. And Ben is like, you could see the panic in his face because he's had Lagavulin. It's too much for him. and Ben just says, Ron just says, you don't have to drink yours. And Ben's like, thank you. And then we see Andy and April talking. And Andy thought he's like, I just thought I nailed something. And April's like, well, I'm still really proud of you. You worked really hard and you got really close. And Andy's response is, close only counts in horse grenades. And it's a saying because if you're playing horseshoes and then you throw a grenade at a horse, it doesn't have to be that close.
Nope.
And you can still blow the horse's legs off.
That all checks out. Yeah.
It's from the movie Seabiscuit.
Yes. The documentary Seabiscuit. about the grenade horse.
Yeah. Yeah, close enough is only the expression is close is only good in horseshoe and hand grenades. And it has nothing to do with trying to blow up a horse. So anyway.
Yet.
I mean, there could be some modifications to the game. I mean, there's still time to improve horseshoes. And then Chris, comes and says, "Hey, this is an important moment for you. How we deal with tragedy defines who we are." Now, where did Chris learn this?
Dr. Nygaard.
Counseling. This is counseling Chris coming along.
Yeah.
And like not like falling into despair. And so pretty great growth moment for Chris here as well.
I just like how even in Andy's spiral, he's like, I was just saying that to April that I'm a failure and that she should leave me for Oren. And that also made me laugh out loud. Just because even like that's how you know he's at the bottom. It's like you should just, or even Oren's better than me.
Yeah, Oren is a better choice. So Chris is trying to pick him up, and Anne sees him talking and says, "Wow, Chris can be very paternal." And we're like, "Wait a minute, Anne's trying to have a baby. What is this all about?" We'll see, listener. We'll see. And then Andy and Donna are there, and they are going to sing a song. And he says, "So, Leslie, the song, which is for little Sebastian, is for you."
I love Ben's face. Like, wait, that doesn't track.
And so then everybody sings "Bye Bye Little," or 5,000 Candles in the Wind is what it's called. And it's Ben. You can see Ben is still very confused about what's happening. And then we have a talking head of Leslie saying, "We just really want to get married. And when you're in love, everything seems like a sign. I love my husband. I love my job. I love my friends. Even though they can't really handle their booze, it zooms out and they're all like passed out in the office." And Ben's like, "We can just go, right?" And they're like, "Yep." And so they go. And there's Ron sitting at his desk, drinking a whiskey. And he is holding a pen. And it's like, is he working right now?
Right. Yeah.
What's he doing? And so the song, all the while, the song is being played in the background, and it ends with the line before it cuts to the credits: "Spread your wings and fly." Spread your wings and fly.
Dude, Donna in this episode too, shout out to Donna. I mean, she's got some pipes.
Yeah, she's great.
She can sing. That aria she sings, and then she sings the first verse of 5,000 Candles.
Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, I mean, this is a great episode. And then we get this credit scene where Ron is talking about how he made the rings so quickly. And it shows him doing all the work. And it involves a waffle iron and cooling it in antifreeze and shaping and forging the ring and the crucible. Also, there's different stuff. He's like, the whole thing only took me about 20 minutes.
And we see him patching the hole in Anne's. Like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Good. And then
he says, "People who buy things are suckers."
Right?
Oh yeah, I just love Ron is just like through it all. Like, yeah, this was easy. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Why it would be hard for anybody.
I love that he started with the waffle iron. Like that was part of it because Leslie loves waffles. So of course her ring would be forged out of, metal that was formed in a waffle iron. It's great.
Yeah. So
that was my other favorite part. Jeremy Jam and Ron. It was the end scene. Like those are the two things I remembered from this episode. Was Jeremy Jam's punch up and him just being an absolute jerk in the most hilarious fashion, and Ron melting down and forming waffle rings out of a sconce. Just great.
Yeah. We see Ron as the most capable person in the world.
Right.
And Jeremy as the most incapable person in the world.
Love it.
Great contrast. So, and there will be consequences from Ron's behavior in the coming episodes as well. So what happened here is not just like the summation of like a massive arc in the story. There's things that are going to continue to be developed from this episode, which is great. Like this is a really wonderful mid-season like treat of an episode, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, keeps everything going. So two things there at the at the end. Punch up at a wedding was not Amnesiac. It's Hail to the Thief.
Oh,
And that's on me too. I thought, but I had to look it up. And then also one last thing, when I said my favorite donut, I thought about it a little bit more. There's a donut shop in Edmonds, or a bakery in Edmonds, and they sell something called a chicken bone, which sounds terrible. But basically it's like a little thinner, not quite a breadstick, but not quite a maple bar size. And they do a glaze and like a coconut crumble on top, but it's not too coconutty. And it's just one of the best donuts. But not every place has something like that. So yes, apple fritter. But just saying, if you're ever in Edmonds, downtown Edmonds, ask for the chicken bone. They usually sell out by the afternoon. Yeah. There you go. Those
are pretty good.
Pretty good.
Right across the street from the bakery in Edmonds is also the Edmonds movie theater, which I would encourage you to patronize, because it is a great little theater that we want to keep alive. So go to the movies there.
Yeah, and the guy who runs it is pretty funny.
We used to go.
Ask him about Disney.
About who?
About Disney. His feelings about Disney.
Oh, okay. I'll ask him next time I'm there. But we used to go to Walking Dead viewings.
Yes.
On Sunday evenings that he would host, and it was awesome. And it was like always full, and it was free. And so it was just like he wanted to do a community event, and so he made it happen. It was awesome.
Agreed. So. And then COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID times. So next week we have Correspondence Lunch.
Yes, which is a great episode. And I'm excited to talk about it. So we should be back next week.
Should be, yeah.
Lord willing, and then the creeks don't rise.
That's yeah. Well, it's rained a lot today, so we'll see.
Dude, it did rain a lot. I was a little startled. I got a little fright.
Yeah,
from the thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
So
it was like a Imagine Dragons song out there.
Oh, that's a terrible way to end this conversation. And also, my dog seems to be done today. So
all right,
I probably should go.
Boom. Before it gets any worse. See you later. Bye.
Bye.